still watching Prime Morning, and of course the newspapers have a lot for us this morning. Now, anytime we wake up in the morning, you should trust that the newspapers and the other portals will definitely be telling us and keeping us updated with regards to what is happening in the economy. And I'll start off with the very first newspaper before I introduce my guest to you, okay? So let me start off with the newspapers, then I introduce my guest to you, and then we delve into our topics for today. The very first newspaper I'm going with is the Business Finder newspaper. The Business Finder. High attrition hits education as UK employs 10,000 Ghanaian teachers. Whoa. It has. Let me continue. Fintechs can do more to spur economic growth, Opong says. So, add value to crops to stay competitive on the global market. Now, if our teachers are going, it was a health sector that we knew we were losing a lot of people in the health sector. But in the teaching or the education sector, we have 10,000 Ghanaians going to live in the UK. In this economy, they will go, Papa. That means that we will definitely be having a lot of issues or a lot of, attrition in our education sector. Anyway, the Daily Guide newspaper is the next newspaper. MP should represent citizens' interests, says Nanodo Dankwa Ekufado. Ken denies Luton remarks include dialysis on NHIS. WHO country rep is advocating for this, and we are hoping that it will definitely come to pass. Winneba level 300 student commits suicide. Oh no, this is sad. A very beautiful young lady, Rita Anani. We don't know what she was going through, but we always say depression is real. If you know any friend who is struggling or a family member who is struggling, please try and reach out a hand to that person. Be that shoulder for the person to lean on, because people are really going through a lot. This is really sad. Sometimes people will be going through challenges and we just see them and we'll laugh it off, but it's not so. May her soul rest in peace. The banner headline, Ato Forcing begs for settlement in 2.37 million euros case. And that will be all for the Daily Guide. No, let me do a bit of entertainment, because it looks like Ghana is winning, and the entertainment stories in here definitely are going to be spoken about during what's trending. Black Sheriff wins Best International Flow Awards. Black Sheriff making us proud. Naira Marley to assist police in Mobat's case. And Beyonce announces Renaissance World Tour film. She didn't bring it to Ghana, but she didn't think we would attend or what. Ghana will come, or the year of return, she'll come and do some years so that we can go. Probably a team should think about it, that year of return, they'll bring the Renaissance tour to Ghana. Hey, it will be you. Like the whole of Africa will land in Ghana here. Beyonce, I know you watch us every morning. So tell Jay-Z that we want you to bring Renaissance Store to, Ghana, year of return. So this year, December, we can give you a space. You do it big, okay? Anyway, we'll continue the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Teacher exodus to UK looms. 10,000 certified teachers to work abroad, says NTC. At the opening of CPC, let's promote citizens' interest. President charges Commonwealth parliamentarians. Stalled Takrady PTC interchange causes inconvenience to motorists. That'll be all for the Ghanaian Times newspaper. The next newspaper is a New Crusading Guide newspaper, and it reads, Nana Kobo rally support for inmates donate 50,000 Ghana cedis worth items to correction center. Ato Forcing runs for cover as he begs for mercy and takes offer to settle criminal case against him. I did not accuse NPP of looting the country, Kennedy Japan says. So now Kennedy, actually, his team released a statement yesterday to retract some of the things that he said during his campaign rally in Kumasi. I'll try to see if I can give you some pointers out of what he said. Now, we all saw the video of him talking about, you know, the looting that happens within the NPP. We saw him talk about how he's going to give Wontumi a showdown. Wontumi can try Alan, but cannot bring the same thing to his doorstep. But yesterday, there's been a retraction. I think the party executives did call him to order, because this is still his political party that he wants to represent as the flag bearer. And so he has released a statement to actually apologize and retract some of the statements that he did say. So I'll try and get you some pointers. I'll cause your arrest, Wontumi warns Kennedy Japan. Acting president of Seventh-day Adventist Pentecostal Assemblies attempts to organize sham elections. Hey, wow. They're everywhere. Even the Christian fraternity is there. TAG exposes GRA over extortion at port. And that will be it for the New Crusading Guide newspaper. Our final newspaper is a business analyst. I won't resign, Addison tells NDC MPs. Hey, wow. Okay. Tema Oil Refinery workers demand dissolution of a board over incompetence and alleged underhand dealings. 2.11 billion Ghana cedis T-bill auction likely to be oversubscribed. GCB Capital Research predicts. Stanbic Bank ATB, Ghana's overall macroeconomic conditions average. And translate Commonwealth values into tangible outcomes for citizens, Akufo-Addo tells Commonwealth Parliament. Now, my guest is seated. We are still waiting for Benjamin Jewapia, who's representing the NPP this morning. However, representing the NDC this morning is Raymond Edem Tamaklo, and he's part of the communications team. Good morning, Raymond.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very well.
Great.
How about yourself?
I'm fine, thank you. I must say.
Good to know.
Yeah, I'm fine, but I'm working.
Very important. My friend Abel says to tell you that you're looking very, very beautiful this morning.
Oh, thank you so much, Abel. Oh, thank you. I feel slowly headed. Well, there's a lot of issues on our table this morning, but the biggest issue that we are going to be talking about is still the BoG issue. Now, we know that the opposition, the main opposition party, and other opposition parties and other Ghanaians embarked on a demonstration hashtag Occupy BoG, trying to present a petition to the Governor of Bank of Ghana. However, the Governor of Bank of Ghana did say that he was in a meeting with the IMF and couldn't receive the petition himself. Hence, he did send his head of security to receive the petition. But the main opposition decided not to hand over the letter or the petition to the head of security for some reasons. Number one, they felt he's not the right person to receive it. Number two, they felt that if even the governor for Bank of Ghana was busy, he should have at least designated either of his deputies or his secretary. Also, they felt that since he's working for Ghana, he should make Ghana his priority and should have come out himself to receive it. Now, yesterday, Honorable Sam Okujeto Ablakwa did speak to the Joy Super Morning Show and did say certain things. Now, he did say that this man, that is Ato Forcing, and his deputies must resign from position, or they should be sacked.
Not Ato Forcing.
Oh, sorry, Addison. Forgive me. Hey, thank you so much for correcting me.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, the governor for Bank of Ghana, Ato Addison, should, and his deputies must be made to resign, or they should be sacked out of office, because they have created a lot of economic hardships for Ghanaians. If not for what they have done, Ghana would have been in a better place with regards to our economy and our CD ratings. Now, Raymond, what's your take on it?
Thank you very much, Roslyn. Once again, a very good morning to our cherished viewers and to yourself as well. Before I delve into the matter, I'd want to say a very big thank you to the Ghanaian people, to the youth, for responding to our call for massive and collective action against the conduct of the BoG governor, the misgovernance, the misrule, the purposeless and directionless governance that has been occasioned or caused by the Akufo-Addo and Bawumia-led administration. They came out in their numbers to register their displeasure, but unfortunately, quite disappointingly, we're not able to present our petition to Dr. Ernest Addison. And so we can assure them that the NDC has their interest at heart, and we are going to engage in more sustained demonstrations and protests to drive home our point, because it has become increasingly clear that our duty bearers, the people in places of power, do not regard us in any way. And so we also need to show them that the power of the people, a people that are the power of collective people who are well organized, is always greater and mightier than the people who are in power. Now, yesterday in the evening, a news came out. Dr. Addison calling or referring to all of us who were present at the demonstration as hooligans. He says we were hooligans for exercising, our democratically, our constitutionally afforded, right, by going onto the streets to demonstrate and protest against his misgovernance of the Bank of Ghana. I will get to that matter. But Roslyn, I want us to be very clear on the matter. Why are we agitated? Why are we protesting? You would recall that from 2021 into 2022, our economy hit the rock. Our economy hit the rock simply because the government of the day engaged in reckless borrowing. They engaged in wasteful expenditure, for which reason we had a situation of fiscal overruns, debt distress, and so our economy headed into recession.
But
now,
will you say that's the only reason, or probably there are other reasons, but probably this is maybe one of the major contributing factors?
So the truth of the matter is that this is the root cause. We can accept that there are other exogenous situations or causes that may have affected the economy. But the truth of the matter is that we are in the situation we find ourselves in because of reckless expenditure, because of reckless borrowing. Borrowing and then spending on consumption. That is the truth. And when we went into the situation we found ourselves in, instead of us as duty bearers, to sit down, and devise strategies, to properly curate the economy and bring it back on its footing, we refused. We didn't do that. Instead, we chose the easy and lazy man's approach by going to the BoG governor to print money for the government. It is what we did. And so in 2021, Dr. Ernest Addison, with his deputies and directors, printed to the tune of 32 billion Ghana cedis for the government. In 2022, they printed 45 billion Ghana cedis. Now, if you look at Section 37 of the Bank of Ghana Act, Act 612 as amended 2012, it says that the governor of the Bank of Ghana cannot make advances to the government, which should exceed 5% of previous year's fiscal revenue. Yeah. And so, if, for example, in 2020, the total revenue in the fiscal year is, let's say, 50 billion, you cannot advance more than 5% of that amount to the government in the ensuing year. Do you get the point? But in brazen contravention of that law, the governor of the Bank of Ghana went ahead to print 32 billion Ghana cedis in 2021 without appropriate recourse to Parliament. In 2022, they printed 45 billion Ghana cedis without appropriate recourse to Parliament. The law also impresses on the governor that if you make advances to the government, within a certain period, annually, and the government is not able to refund or repay the loans that have been advanced, you are barred from making any subsequent advances. So in 2022, the government of Ghana failed to repay the advances that were made in 2021. And so there was no reason. The law is very clear that in 2022, they couldn't have made any more advances to the government. But Governor Addison acted as a law unto himself, acted as a power unto himself, and made those advances. Now, this is what the printing of money has done to all of us. For some of us who are home.
But the governor actually did. He didn't make a decision on his own. You know that, right? Because these decisions, he's taking the decisions, but definitely in consultation with finance minister.
Yes. In consultation with the finance minister. Mm-hmm. But the law is very clear that if it has become a matter of emergency and you need to exceed the 5% benchmark or threshold, you inform the finance minister, then he then informs Parliament.
Yeah.
Then a remedial measure is decided upon and acted upon. All of those things did not happen. And because of the excessive printing of money, it affected all of us. And so for some of us who are home, who say they are indifferent about, the actions of our duty bearers, I want you to understand, I want you to see how the printing of money affects your lives directly.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is what Dr. Addison said. In an interview with the international business website Central Banking, he said he's not stepping down, describing the protest by the NDC as completely unnecessary.
Yes, I will get to that. But I want the people to understand something that is very fundamental. Now, the point is that because Governor Addison printed so much money, the money out of bank, so in economy, money out of bank, and so money that is not in our banks rose from 14 billion in 2019 to about 32 billion, in 2022. And so money out of bank was around 51%. And now the marginal propensity to spend is always higher than marginal propensity to save. And so it means that you have more money in circulation chasing fewer goods. And when that happens, you will see that inflation goes up. It is a reason why for the very first time
we have more money chasing fewer.
Exactly. For the very first time. Yes. When you have more money chasing fewer goods, it means that demand goes up. Inflation goes up. It is a reason why in 2022, for the very first time in the Fourth Republic, inflation was around 54.1%. Hyperinflation.
So what was the money? Because it wasn't in the people's pockets.
Come again?
The money were not in the people's pockets.
It was in the system. Right?
Did you get some?
And the data is very clear that money out of bank was 51%, the highest since 2013.
So was this in the pockets of just a few Ghanaians?
Exactly.
Okay.
It is some of the money you find under the bed of Cecilia Dapa.
Hey, you don't have proof to that.
It is true.
No, but you don't have proof to that.
No.
Court has not showed us that these monies that were found in Madam Cecilia Dapa's home are monies from the government. And so until proven that it's from the government, we can't really say that. We can allege, right?
It's an allegation.
Okay, so we can allege, but not say it with
Roslyn, tell me what they've done with the 70 billion that has been printed for the government. What have they done? And so inflation went around 54.1%. And you will recall a World Bank report that says that because of the inflation situation in Ghana, over 850,000 people went below the poverty lines. After doing all of that, after plunging the people into abject poverty, then Governor Addison, with his deputies and the directors at the bank, they sit down and increase their own salaries. Roslyn, they increased their own salaries by 8.6 million Ghana cedis. 87% increment. While they were doing that, they sat down and factored in inflation in the increments.
Will we consider the Russia-COVID war, because we know that when it struck, it hit the whole world. It wasn't just Ghana. So are we going to, factor that in?
Roslyn, COVID struck. there is Russian-Ukraine war. But you see, in the midst of COVID, Rosalind, we had 21 billion Ghana cedis, 21 million Ghana cedis to deal with the situation. Which country has had that amount of money? You had so much, $1 billion from the IMF. You had 430 million $430 million from the World Bank, 10 billion Ghana cedis from the Bank of Ghana. According to the finance minister in parliament, he said he spent only 12 million Ghana cedis in the combating COVID-19. Are we the only country affected? Why is it that our situation is worst off? Mention the number of countries that have gone to the IMF and have had to go through or have had to subject their citizens to excruciating haircuts. People who have suffered, invested, or credited their money to the government, they gave them cruel haircuts. Why? Are we the only country that have been affected? Do we live in isolation? We do not. And so clearly, it is very clear that we're in the situation we are in because of mismanagement.
The haircut is because we had to go to IMF.
Exactly the point.
Help.
Cote d'Ivoire went to IMF. Were they not affected by COVID-19? Were they not affected by the Russian-Ukraine war? Why are they not giving haircuts to their citizens? Why are they not? Rosalind, ask yourself. Why is it that Cote d'Ivoire remains an investment destination for foreign investment and not Ghana? It is because they know about the corruption, they know about the misrule in Ghana, they know about the directionless and purposeless governance that the Ghanaian people have been subjected to. It is why we are in the situation we find ourselves in, and the leaders in power do not recognize how dire the situation is. It is why NS Addison will come to tell us that we are hooligans for engaging in, demonstrations.
Well, it looks like the government is also saying they are doing their possible best to get us out of this economic, issue. Because let's not forget that when the finance minister read the mid-year budget, he did say that we are turning the corner, meaning that things are getting back to normal. We've seen some stabilization in the city. We've also seen that inflation has dropped, and things are probably a little bit on track. You don't agree?
Rosalind, when inflation drops from, let's say, 54.1% to 40% to 42%, does not mean that the sachet of water that increased from 20 pesos to 50 pesos is going to decrease. That it does not mean that, let's say, for example, the Don Simon used to buy for 12 cedis, that increased to, let's say, 30 cedis is going to drop down. It does not mean anything. The incompetence of this administration has left so much to desire. It does not mean that the average Ghanaian that has been plunged into poverty, as according to the World Bank, today, poverty in Ghana is a death sentence. Because the average Ghanaian cannot even afford the cost of dialysis at Kolebu. And so when you are poor, when you are an average Ghanaian, you are going to die in Ghana. It is because a select few, have a clandestine operation in place as captured by the Ejapadiye document.
Don't forget that the Ejapadiye document has been cleared by the Court of ECOWAS. So,
I'm not talking about the deal.
Okay.
So the MPP, as a corporate entity, have a document, on how an elaborate document on how they intend to capture Ghana. How they if you like, I can share with you.
Which document? Is it not the Ejapadiye?
That is different. The Ejapadiye deal. That is Ejapadiye.
This one is what
Ejapadiye document. It is a document.
And is where?
I will share with you.
Okay.
And in that document contains an operation.
And who created the document?
The MPP themselves.
Who
it is supposed to be clandestine, but it has been intercepted. And when you read the document, you will see that everything that has been spelled in the document is carefully being executed as we speak.
Do you have any idea of who actually did this in the NPP?
I will share with you.
I will
share the document with you.
Right.
But you see, I really want us to go back to the BoG matter. So
I just wanted, because you said it, because definitely
I will share with you.
Viewers will be wondering which one is the Ejapadiye document.
I'm even shocked. I'm even surprised you don't know about it.
No, you see, sometimes they say these things, But if you don't have the proof to know who exactly is behind it, because they'll say that there's propaganda in politics as well. So you ought to have your proof. So there's a Japadia. We have to know where it's coming from. When a Japa deal was coming to through, we all knew where it was coming from. But this one, we don't know if it's an allegation. Is it somebody in opposition who created it and said it's for this? So we have to get to the bottom of it.
I understand your contempt, but you see, when you lay your hand on a document and you read the contents of the document, then you know that it is a clandestine operation by the MPP to hijack the country.
Okay.
You will see that everything that has happened,
need proof to show that
yes, of course,
so,
everything that has happened to this point, okay, is clearly stated in the document, and it is a blueprint that they are following. Okay. Right, and so I will share with you right after the program.
Let's come back to our
exactly. Let's go back to the BoG. So after breaking the laws, brazenly printing money and all of those things, Rosalind, can you imagine that for 2022 alone, Dr. Ernest Addison declared a loss of 60.8 billion Ghana cedis. Rosalind, 60.8 billion Ghana cedis. That is $6 billion. Rosalind, today, we are before the IMF for a life-saving $3 billion, right? And as part of the conditionalities that the IMF has given us, that has come with the $3 billion that we are seeking from them. They have laid a total embargo on employment in Ghana. It means that if you're a young person, you've gotten out of the university, you've done your national service, you cannot be employed by government. Not even in the essential services sector, the health sector, education sector, and then the security services. You cannot be employed because there's a total freeze on employment. Rosalind, it is because we are seeking only $3 billion from the IMF. Okay, and Dr. Ernest Addison, just for 2022 alone, declares a loss of $60 billion because of that $3 billion. Okay. Every 3 months, quarterly today, utility tariffs go up. So water bills, light bills, and all of those things must go up every 3 months automatically because we are before the IMF, and you declare a loss of 60.8 billion for 2022. Now, then he declares a negative equity of 55.1 billion Ghana cedis. Rosalind, 55.1 billion. What it clearly tells you is that the Bank of Ghana, the lender of last resort, is bankrupt, is insolvent. They have collapsed banks in this country for far less. Today they have become guilty, Rosalind. They have become guilty for the very charges for which they collapsed bank in Ghana. For which reason they laid off over 5,000 workers in the financial sector.
Let's not forget that BoG is not a profit-making entity. We know that the governor has spoken about that they are not a profit-making. And so what happens is that in case of, economic, problems, or in case you hit the road with your finances, or the economy is struggling, a typical example is what happened with COVID in Russia, Ukraine, then they step up to come in so they are like a shock absorbers. And so they are not there to make profit. Yes, there might be times they'll record profits, but they are not a profit-making entity.
They are not a profit-making entity. It is very clear. But does that mean they should run losses? Does that mean they should misgovern the Bank of Ghana, our central bank, the lender of last resort, into debt or to make losses? 60.1 billion. Rosalind, why? In previous administration, in Mohammed's administration, the Bank of Ghana had been recording profits. The point of the Bank of Ghana,
but let's not forget that at that time we did not have COVID. That was a pandemic. We did not have the Russia-Ukraine war, and so that's different.
See, every government has had its own challenges to deal with.
But this is a worldwide
President Mahama had to deal with Dumso. He came to meet Dumso and had to commit a larger chunk of the resources that were available to him to bring a decisive end to Dumso.
That's a Ghanaian problem.
With our major exports, the prices of our major exports, for which we make estimates and then adjust our revenues for the year according to, we saw prices plummeting. okay, cocoa, gold, and all of those things, and our oil, the prices on the international market plummeted. For which reason our resources or our revenues were cut into half and all of that. But we still had to find a way to solve the problem. The responsibility or a duty of a leader is not to come and tell us what the problem is. It is why we elected you. We brought you in that for in times of adversity, you find way for us. You become the hope for the people. It is why we elected them. We didn't elect them to come and point the problems for us and throw their hands in despair. Roslyn. And so every government has had their own set of challenges. And so we cannot pardon this government. Okay? Yes, they may not be a profit-making entity. But when they misgovern, when they misrule, we run into losses. And when they are not able to absorb the shocks, it is when they go and print money. When they print money, we have a lot of money in the system, chasing fewer goods. Inflation goes up. It affects you and I. But after all of those things, Ernest and his people will sit down and increase their own salaries. And so it is only you and I who suffer for their own, incompetence. You see what is happening here?
Is the problem the loss, or it is the increment of salary, which is it?
All of it.
All of it together.
Yes.
Okay.
So it is about the criminality. The fact that they set aside section 37 of the Constitution of the Bank of Ghana Act, the PF, the Public Financial Management Act, which states that you should go to Parliament to seek approval before you write off loans and all. They set all of those things aside, acted as laws unto themselves. Okay, Roslyn, printed money for the government and wrote it off as bad debts without recourse to Parliament. When you finish, you declare a loss of 60.1 billion. You declare a negative equity of 60.8 billion, negative equity of 55.1 billion. Then you go into a spending spree. So, the Bank of Ghana manages monetary policy. The government of Ghana manages fiscal policy. And so, when the managers of fiscal policy are spending, so they themselves, they have, there's a competition, a spending competition. When Baumia, Ken, and Co spend, then Addison will come and say, oh, but if we've not spent that here, let me show you how to spend. Dr. Addison goes and spends 131 million Ghana cedis on vehicle maintenance.
Oh, Raymond, if you say that he said that they don't know how to spend.
No, but no.
Are you saying that on authority as no. Were you there?
No, I was not there. But the situation is very clear to us.
Oh, no, but you can't. If you say like that, it's as though you are quoting, you don't know how to spend. Let me teach you how to spend.
No, but it is what they are doing. It is what they are doing, Roslyn. When Baumia and Ken and Co spend, when they spend 4 million Ghana cedis to change car tires, batteries, and all of that, then the Governor Addison says, oh, I will show you how to spend. Then he goes.
Hey, how does he say it?
Roslyn, he goes and he spends 131 million Ghana cedis on vehicle maintenance. Vehicle maintenance, Roslyn.
Now,
131 million Ghana cedis.
Let me say this. Addison also rejected the claims by minority that he printed money to finance the lavish lifestyle of the ruling government. According to him, the BoG provided monetary financing during 2020 and 2022 to meet specific crises, which he says is illegal under the central bank law.
Roslyn, I think we've already been over this.
Have we?
Yes, we have.
And the man is saying that he didn't do anything wrong. You are saying he did a lot wrong.
You see, yes. We are not saying you can't print money for government too. But...
No, you're saying that lavish, and he's saying that it wasn't for lavish.
No, but 70 billion Ghana cedis. Roslyn, tell me what they've done with 70 billion Ghana cedis.
60 billion. Oh, the 70 they printed.
The one they printed for the government, the one they claim they finance government with. What has the government done with the money? And were they supposed to print that amount of money for the government in writing off the loans, the monies they printed for government as bad debt? The Constitution compels them to inform Parliament. Did they inform Parliament? That is clear criminality. Okay, Roslyn. And so we should not be giving oxygen to these people to continue acting the way they are acting.
He won't resign. What will the NDC do? He says he won't resign.
He says he won't resign. He has to, like I've already said, he has to know that the power and the will of collectives or a group of people who are well organized is far mightier than the people who are in power. And so we can assure Governor Addison that we are going to engage in more sustained protest, demonstrations to ensure that he is kicked out. Now, what he said yesterday, okay, is the height of, the arrogance of political power.
That you are hooligans?
It is, yes, that we are hooligans for engaging in protests, peaceful protests. He calls us hooligans. He says that we are an uncivilized set of people who would go onto the streets to vent our spleens. It is sheer arrogance of unchecked political power. Roslyn, but we will show Governor Addison that we are far mightier than they are. That when the day of reckoning comes, when the shackles of jail is staring him in the face.
He didn't really say you are hooligans.
He did.
He said your actions. Okay, let me read what he said.
He says we are hooligans.
Let me read what he said. Let me read what he says. The minority in parliament, and I quote, the minority in parliament have many channels to channel their grievances in civilized societies, not through demonstrations in the streets as hooligans. So it was more like the action that he's talking about.
Exactly, not through the streets like hooligans. And so we went to the streets, demonstrations, protests. That is afforded us by the Constitution. In a civilized democracy, he says we are uncivilized and we are hooligans for exercising that right. It is the sheer arrogance of political power. Now, Roslyn, when people cannot afford 3 square meal in Ghana, when 3 square meal in Ghana today has become luxury, when the patient to bed ratio in our hospitals is awfully inadequate and a very devastating situation. When we have over 5,300 schools under threat situation in Ghana, when boats that are carrying students from one community over rivers to access learning facilities in different or adjoining communities capsize and brings psychological trauma to parents. When today the youth of our country are fleeing and absconding the shores of this country for lack of opportunities and for the sense of hopelessness that has engulfed the country, Governor Addison calls us hooligans.
Anyway,
when today, Roslyn, they have stolen our collective necessities to fund and enable their individual pleasures, luxuries, and comfort. He stares us in the face and calls us hooligans. And I can also tell him that when the shackles of jail is staring at him in 2025, then he would know where true power lies. Okay,
I'll read some messages. Rosalind, tell NDC man there we are no more in 80s and 90s. We thank God. Now there's graduates in every home. At least you can see the building the governor is accused of. But your time, what happened to banks in Ghana? NDC, give us a break. We know you for ages. Bismarck. All right, thank you, Bismarck. Good morning to you and your host. Good morning to me and Raymond. Okay, I love your show very much and I listen to you every morning before leaving work. Right, thank you so much. You give the youth opportunity on your platform. Keep it up. But Mr. Addison must resign. Richard from Jurapa Upper West region. Thank you so much, Richard. Good morning to you, madam, and to your panelists. Indeed, things fall apart. The center cannot hold. If it is elsewhere, the corrupt and incompetent governor would have resigned without someone even telling him. But what are we seeing here? The minority MPs should allow him to continue with the mess that he himself caused, so that when this coroner government left, he can be arrested, investigated, and if possible, be jailed. Very simple. Sumani Hamza. Fuel price hikes coupled with galloping inflation rates has plunged Ghana into serious economic crisis, and this is a result of incompetence, economic mismanagement, profligate expenditure and fiscal indiscipline. Instead of this government to seek for stringent measures to address these economic doldrums, they are rather focusing on breaking the aids. Worst of it all is a decision to constantly insult the intelligence of Ghanaians by attributing their sheer incompetence and failure to external factors. These people should be booted out of power come 2024. Daniel Akmaliok from Sandema. Good morning, Daniel. Good morning to you all, Ghanaians. Have you seen how Akufo-Addo has disappointed us? Some of us could have died a foolish death. We fought extensively for Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to win 2 consecutive times. But what are we seeing today? No action against his appointees, no reshuffle. Look at what the BoG governor is saying, describing demonstrators as hooligans. Some of us shall never ever make such a mistake again unless Kennedy is elected as a flag bearer. Okay, So I don't know if Kennedy is the better option than anybody, but you know what? As the MPP, is up to the MPP to elect their flag bearer. But we know that one man who was competing to become the flag bearer of the NPP decided to withdraw from the race. And after a week or two, he decided to withdraw from his political party, that's the NPP party. I'm talking about Honorable Alan Kojo-Chirmating. He went out there to say that he's going to contest as an independent candidate, formed the Movement for Change, has his logo as the butterfly, that's the Afrafranto. Now, he has also spoken and he says that Ghana will process 60% of raw materials when he becomes president. Raymond, you've seen it. What do you think about it? Do you think he can do it?
I think this proposition of Alan is just another addition to the long list of platitudes and all the charades, all the empty talks. For crying out loud, Alan was part of this administration. He in fact was the Minister of Trade and Industry. He was in charge of the industrialization of our country. What has been his track record? If he is to account to us today, what has he done in furtherance of our industrialization drive as a country? What is it? What is the state of our industries in Ghana today? And so this I believe is just one of those talks. I don't think Alan has what it takes to to do that. If he has any, there is something they say in tree. My tree is not so good, but. Say I grown the best one. Exactly.
No, but if Alan was to be in the NDC, do you think he would have been able to do it? Are you saying this because he's definitely an opposition to your party?
Not necessarily. The point is the man has been a Minister of Trade and Industry. What has he done? At least see if for nothing at all. What is the state of toll? Okay, just look at the state of toll. What has he done? When you know that as part of the things that drive inflation in our country, the cost of food or the cost of services in our country has to do with our, excessive reliance on the importation of, fuel products from outside. But when we have toll sitting in the heart of Greater Accra, where we can industrialize the place, operationalize it, and we have the capacity to substitute our dependence on the importation of fuel. What has he done over there? When you know clearly that when you operationalize toll, the cost of fuel is going to go down and it's going to affect everything else. It is going to generate revenue for government. What has he done over there? He has done nothing. What is the state of Commander Sugar Factory today? It is in shambles. Nothing to write home about. And so when Alan today tells us that he wants to industrialize our country, I fret.
But he wasn't the president then, and of course, he wasn't the sole decision maker. And we all know that even before you receive monies to finance certain things, it ought to go through the finance minister. What if behind the scenes he was doing his possible best, but was not getting the needed support or was not getting the needed money or resources to be able to channel that kind of, energy in there to make Ghana, where it was supposed to go to with regards to industrialization?
It is not true. It is not true. It is not at all true. When the MPP wanted political power, they rode on so many flagship programs as promises. One of the prominent message they sold to the Ghanaian people, which today has become a social contract we have signed with the MPP government, is the promise of one district, one factory. Roslyn, please, what message did you come from, or what district do you come from? Do you have...
You want to ask me?
I want to know if you have your share of one district, one factory over there. No, Roslyn, you tell me.
No, I get to where you're coming from.
Yes,
I don't
government.
think...
So the point is that for a government which rides on a major flagship program as that, there must be adequate, provision that must be made to ensure the realization and materialization of such a program. Alan was a minister. 1D, 1F was his brainchild. What has he done about it in the 7 years he has served in government? He has done nothing. Today, when he wants political power, he comes, when his party has ditched him, he comes and tells us that he wants to industrialize. He does not have a track record. Indeed, he does not have, you know, even the moral authority to come and stand before the Ghanaian people and tell us that he wants to industrialize.
Why doesn't he have the moral authority?
He does not.
But that is why he's saying that he wants to go independent, because he feels that, you know, he could have done better if he wasn't under people that probably suppressed him.
No, it cannot be true. Alan today is going independent because he feels that the presidency is a family heirloom. Okay, it is a birthright that at all costs must be willed to him. And so because the realization of that dream is no longer attainable in the MPP, he today has broken away from them to, you know, contest as an independent candidate. But when the day of reckoning comes, the day of accountability comes, Alan is also going to be added to the MPP government. We are going to assess them all together. Alan, you've had you have served in government for 7 solid years. What have you done as, you know, trade and, you know, industry minister? I have listened to him grant a couple of interviews. He's not been able to tell us decisively, okay, what he has done as trade and industry minister. I have given you 2 things. 1D1F. 1D1F was his brainchild. They won the election on the promise of 1D1F. What has he done about it? Look at Tor. Tor has the capacity to, you know, process 45,000 barrels of crude a day. As trade and industry minister, how has he endeavored, okay, to operationalize Tor? So much so that our dependence on forced importation is substituted, so much so that government of Ghana is able to process food, sells for, generate revenue, then prices of things come down in the country.
Talk is cheap.
Talk is cheap.
Is that what you're saying?
It is cheap.
Wow.
Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. What has he done? He has no track record. And so today, he cannot come and tell me that he wants to industrialize our country. What has he done about Commander Sugar Factory? Nothing. And so for me, I think it is, like I've already said, it is one of the so many platitudes, charades, empty talk, rhetorics that they have engaged in 2016. But unfortunately for Alan, the people today are more discerning. They are able to see through, you know, lies, concocted promises and all of those things. They know who has a track record, a proven track record, who has done it before, who has been there before, who has made inventory. Okay.
But do you think Alan going as independent is going to change anything in 2024? Will it affect both political parties' votes in any way?
The only thing that Alan going independent in 2024 is going to change or is going to do is to upset MPP's votes in Ashanti region. Okay,
it won't affect the NDC.
It is not going to affect the NDC because for the larger group of Ghanaians, we have come to a consensus that they are all part and parcel of the same poison tree. They are all fruits of the same poison tree.
What about the neutral voter? Somebody like me, I'm a neutral voter. I don't have one political party I vote for. Depending on how well you've done or your track record will make me vote for you. So that's how I vote. I've been voting in that pattern since I started voting. I'm only 25 years though. Since I started. Raymond, why did you laugh?
Okay.
So, what about those people, us?
You have answered the question. You say you vote based on track record. You vote based on policy, right? You vote based on.
But this is a good policy.
You vote. See, the truth of the matter is that all of the propositions that Alan is making are all things Mahama said. He's going to run a lean government. He's going to ensure the effective use of our resources.
So is he stealing your words?
He is just repackaging all the things Mahama keep hammering. He does not have a message of himself. And the truth of the matter is that if a neutral voter is going to vote, the neutral voter is going to consider track record, policy alternatives. And the NDC today is the only political party with a credible track record, with a proven track record of how we use just 54 million, 54 billion Ghana cedis to engage in all kinds of infrastructure development in this country. We can talk about the Ridge Hospital, UGMC, Bank of Ghana Hospital, Terminal 3, Kotokrawa. You can talk about Cape Coast Stadium. You can talk about Kejital Market. You can talk about Whole Market, Whole Airport, Takrady Port expansion, Tema Port expansion. So much more. Circle interchange, Pokwasi interchange, Tema interchange. So you see, there is a proven track record of the NDC Mahama-led administration. It is not all about the talks. You can talk about education. Look at what we have done over there. Look at the e-blocks over there.
They have the free SHS and they have the STEM schools.
Have you seen the state of free SHS today?
They're about to revise certain things, but it doesn't mean that they still haven't implemented free SHS, where you have a lot of less privileged people.
See, we have always we in the NDC have always maintained that free SHS is a provision in our constitution, but at the time, the NDC thought that rolling out the program progressively was the best way. It is because we did not have the infrastructure, right, to accommodate the rush implementation of the policy. But because of mere political points, political expediency, the MPP thought that they could rashly implement the program. And we are seeing the havoc the rush implementation has caused to our educational sector. Recently, the IMF said that the free SHS was poorly targeted, and our students have become victims of poor learning outcomes. It is what the IMF said, not the NDC. And so it shows you that there are fundamental problems that has to do with the implementation of the free SHS policy. And so President Mahama is saying that should he come back to power, of course, which he will in 2025, he is going to build more schools to accommodate the numbers, and to decongest our schools and all of that.
But there are STEM schools. Have you seen the STEM schools?
How many of them are there?
There are quite a few STEM schools. There are about 20-something STEM schools.
How many are there? It is not enough. It is not.
It's not enough.
We had completed about 120 e-blocks.
Okay.
We started 200, completed about 120 of them. What have they done? You go to the health sector, the chip compounds and all of those things. What has been their record in trying to make our hospital facilities accessible to the people? Today, Roslyn, I am telling you, in the education sector, students have to go via boats or via river to adjoining communities to access learning facilities. Sometimes you hear that students who are going to school via river or via the boat capsizes and the students die.
But it was happening in your time.
It is because the learning facilities are inadequate. It is because the students do not have access to the educational institutions in their communities where they can school.
But Raymond, we do agree that when your party was in power, this happened.
Roslyn, it happened. It is why we embarked on a massive educational, revolution. We knew about the schools under three situation in Ghana. And so instead of promising one student one laptop, one student one tablet, we invested in the educational infrastructure. As we speak today, there are 5,300 schools under three situation in Ghana. But instead of expanding our educational infrastructure, our jocular vice president is going around telling us that he will give one laptop per student, one tablet per student. It is not what they need. They need infrastructure. Okay. And so you cannot be purporting to be giving us free education when accessibility and quality is under threat. All
right. Nana Kocha Asare says the way he's talking, you can deduce is a rehearsed talk. Really? Nana Kocha Asare continues by saying, what did NDC do for TOR? See this guy talking as if NDC has any proper records. Joy Prime, good morning. Why is it that Mahama borrowed $1 million to build a Twabo gas and the Kufuor minister is sitting on it in her room? Indeed, Ghana is in safe hands. From Nanaya Otechiman. Alaji Hamza Pickfam, good morning, Rosalind. Madam, you remember I told you yesterday that our intel told us that the governor of BoG was not in any meeting with the IMF. Madam, I hope you're not trying to make excuses for the governor of BoG. To his information, the one who employed him has a degree in demonstrations in this country. Describing the minority and Ghanaians as hooligans is totally unacceptable. We are where we are today simply because of the arrogant posture of functionaries and communicators of the NPP party. They will not simply listen to any advice because they feel they know it all. The NPP as a political party feel they are the only political party mandated to govern this country. I hope the minority in parliament will learn a lesson from this insult. The governor has not received the petition yet, but says he's not stepping down. Is there any need for a second protest to hand over the petition to him again? In fact, the governor and his two deputies should not be the only persons to resign for the CD to regain its strength. Ken Ofori-Atta must also resign, and President Nana Addo Dankwa apologized to Ghanaians for failing us. Stephen from Navrongo. Good morning. I'm very impressive of your program every morning. Please keep it up. Addison and the NPP are digging their own pinch. Okay, it means page. Pit. Okay, it's supposed to be pit. Mohammed Zaino Abedin Mohammed Zongo Koko's CEO at Chianse constituency. All right, Mohammed, thank you so much for sending your message. For those of you at home who want to join the conversation, you can also send in your messages to us. The president has spoken. This is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and he's spoken to all ECOWAS leaders, saying that he's calling on the leaders and organizations to fight the rise of coups. Now, the latest coup is the one that happened in Niger. And they are still saying that they could take in some military invasion to try and restore some democracy in the country. It's also urging, the ECOWAS leaders and, of course, presidents in ECOWAS to try as much as possible to reason with the citizens and also try to prevent this coup rise. Ray, we always pray against coup wherever we find ourselves. Coup should never, ever, ever happen. But it's happening. The president is saying that let's try to prevent it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Rosalind, so the insurgence of coup today is a very sad situation. It is a very disturbing situation we are faced with in Africa today, right? Mm-hmm. And so under no circumstance should we endorse or should we think that coups are a better alternative to demonstration. But the point is this: what has democracy afforded the people? The people have become disillusioned by the kind of democracy we are practicing in Africa. What has been the dividends, the outcomes of democracy in Africa to the people, except to say that the people who are afforded political power hide under the banner of democracy to steal, our collective necessities, to fund, to enable their own comforts, to enable, their own pleasures, their own luxuries. It is all democracy has done for us in Africa. And so I think that the president's call, though I agree that coups cannot be an alternative, mm-hmm. the president's call is misplaced. The president's call must be to himself. The president's call must be to his colleague African leaders.
But he did. He said it to his colleagues.
No. He says that we must fight. He says, no. Yes, he says he is calling for a collective action against coup, how to stop coup. And I am saying that the most effective way, the most sensible way to bring a stop to the insurgence of coup in Africa is to call his colleagues, is to call himself, do a thorough introspection, okay, and deliver on the letters, deliver on the dictates, deliver on the spellings, the actual reason for which democracies exist. Not to fund their lavish lifestyles, to deliver to the people, to deliver the people's necessities, to ensure that the aspiration, the expectations, the needs of the people are met, to to understand that to be leaders is not a position of dictatorship, a position of authority
but are we
or
under dictatorship?
heedless power. It is supposed to be a position of service, service to the people. What form or what has become more oppressive than the kind of democracy we are practicing today in Ghana? Check the coups that has happened in Ghana from 1966, right up to 1981, and see whether or not all the issues, okay, that gave oxygen, that gave justification for which reason those coups happened are not right today. And so President Akufo-Addo, you must revise the letter of democracy, the true spirit of democracy. Practicing democracy is to wake up and know that when you work and toil in this country, you are going to get your dividends. It's for the youth. It's for the people to be hopeful. It's for the people to have opportunities. It is not for a select few to come into political power, hijack the country, and then the limited resources, the limited opportunities in government, they share amongst themselves.
When you say hijack, what's hijack? How are they hijacking the resources? When, some people out there will say that there's free SHS. How are you hijacking the resources? When some people out there will say that they got to experience NAPCO. How are you hijacking the resources?
You see, if you want us to talk about free SHS, we can talk about free SHS all day, and I will show you everything that is wrong about free SHS.
No, but the point is this. The point is this.
If they're not hijacking, how is it that today affording 3 square meal in Ghana has become luxury? Why is it that Ghanaian youth are going by eating formations 001, 100, 00, 100, and then all kinds of formations?
Formation?
My formation is 001.
So you haven't eaten.
I woke up around 4 a.m., drank water till 6 a.m. and I came here.
And what will you eat at 10 a.m.?
No, I won't eat again. So I will eat in the evening. So 00, so morning 0, afternoon 0, evening you do 1.
Are you a Christian?
Yes, I am a Christian.
So add prayer to it, and if it's fasting, God will answer your prayers.
Yeah, well, we are praying, but because of Akufo-Addo's hijacking of our limited resources, the prayers are not even working in Ghana today.
Really?
God is busy somewhere else.
Hey.
Because the system is total collapse of the system in Ghana today. So prayers are not even being heard.
How is God answering my prayers?
God is answering your prayers.
Yes.
Really, so you are living in very comfortable life.
My prayers. God has answered
you are so
all
comfortable.
My prayers. I didn't say that. I said God is answering my prayers.
Maybe you are above the average Ghanaian.
No, I'm not.
But when you see the situation of the average Ghanaian, it is when you will see when the youth of the country are flying out of this country in droves, absconding in droves, because there are limited opportunities in Ghana. You work and you don't even get dividends. Inflation is killing you. Taxes are killing you. And those taxes, you don't see what the government is using our taxes for. And so President Akufo-Addo, advise yourself, advise your colleagues. It is true. They should advise themselves and know that the position of authority is not dictatorship. It is not a family dynasty. It is to serve the people. It is a position of service to the people. It is why today, okay, we as law-abiding citizens, we engage in demonstration, protest as afforded to us by the Constitution. Then our leaders, the duty bearers, come out and call us hooligans. Demonstrations, coup d'etats are happening in other parts of Africa for far less of what is happening in Ghana. But in our country, because the Ghanaian people are slow to anger, we are law-abiding, we go for demonstration, peaceful ones, they call us hooligans. When we are frustrated, we vent our spleens on the streets. They say we are hooligans, we are criminals, we are uncivilized. How can you prevent schools in this situation if not for the fact that the Ghanaian people are slow to anger? Roslyn, how can you?
No, Ghanaians are not slow to anger. We are civilized people.
Yes, we are civilized and slow to anger.
No, we are not slow to anger.
No, we are. Actually, we are. If we were, Roslyn, we are slow to anger.
Ghanaians are not slow to anger. The fact that others are practicing coup doesn't mean that Ghanaians also believe in same. We are more civilized.
Yes, it is the point. It is the reason why Governor Addison feels so bold to call us hooligans for engaging in a demonstration. It is why. And so President Akufo-Addo must deliver on the deliverables of democracy. We don't want a situation where they keep tormenting the Ghanaian people. Look at the mismanagement that has occasioned this country, that has engulfed this country, the sense of hopelessness, the limited opportunities.
Let me ask
today, you can't even have access to, and I've told you that, you see, being an average Ghanaian in this economy today is a death sentence, because simple dialysis you can't afford. When we place taxes on absolutely everything, even sanitary pads.
Raymond, you said dictatorship government, but we were still able to go on demonstrations. So how is dictatorship happening here? Dictatorship is when, even when you want to go on a demonstration, they'll tell you, no, you can't go on a demonstration, but you are allowed.
No, dictatorship, okay, is when you disregard the constitution and preach so much money to the tune of 70 billion to a government that is incompetent, a government that is only concerned about funding their own luxury lifestyles. Use that 70 billion to fund themselves, some of which allegedly has been found under Cecilia Dape's bed. That is dictatorship. Dictatorship is when you steal our collective necessities to fund your own luxuries. That is dictatorship. What has President Ablakwa told? What did he tell us when he was coming in 2016? That, oh, humility, service in humility and all of those things. What has he delivered? Free SHS, look at the state of free SHS. 1D, 1F, look at it. One village, one down, where is it? 1 million per constituency, where is it? All of those things, where are they? The people are suffering. Today, I've already told you, 5,300 school under 3 situation in Ghana. Patient to bed ratio in our hospitals is awfully inadequate, very devastating. The people are scorning the country. You have collapsed banks for far less of what the Bank of Ghana is doing today. Laid off over 5,000 workers. We pay so much taxes and nothing is happening. You put tax on even sanitary pad. You put 20% luxury tax on sanitary pad. Is that not dictatorship? What kind of governance is that?
Okay.
Levy. COVID. The World Bank has declared COVID as officially over. But in Ghana, in Akufo-Addo's Ghana, we are still paying COVID levy. Why is that? And you don't even see what they are using our taxes for. Show me a more oppressive form of governance than what we are experiencing in Ghana today. Show me the kind of situation we are experiencing in Ghana. We have not seen even under military dictatorship from 1966 to 1981. Inflation ratio of 54.1%. We have the worst currency in the whole of the world. Okay, far west off than Syria, than Yemen, than Ukraine, than South Sudan.
Sri Lanka is the worst. Sri Lanka.
It is. We are one of the worst.
Okay, so you can
in war-torn countries like Yemen, even Yemen, Syria, South Sudan, Ukraine, we are far worse than them. The situation of our central bank today is far worse than that of Yemen, Syria, South Sudan, Ukraine.
All right, Raymond.
They are oppressing us economically, socially, psychologically, in every way.
Raymond, thank you so much for being here. You are very heated up. I'll give you some water to drink since you are not eating.
I really need that water.
I'll give it to you. Or you want food?
If I get tired,
I won't give you. Thank you so much for being here this morning. I don't know if there are some messages that I could take, but if not, I'll say a very big thank you. Okay, let me quickly try and get a comment. I hear there's a comment coming in. So just trying to get it and then I'll read it out to you. Okay, the way he's talking, okay, no, I think I've already done this. Nana Kojo Asari says, MPP is bad, but NDC is never an option. All right, Nana Kojo. And that'll be all for the segment. Thank you so much for watching the segment. It's the News Flash segment. My guest has been Raymond Edem Tamaklo, representing the NDC. Unfortunately, Benjamin Jewapia could not make it this morning. We don't know why. No call has come in yet as to why he couldn't make it, but of course, definitely the NPP faithfuls were hoping to hear from him, but he didn't make it this morning. But we are hoping to have our representatives come in next week for us to delve into other conversations. Thank you so much for watching the segment.